আর কবে নিতাই চাঁদে করুণা হইবে সংসার বসান মোরা আর কবে নিতাই চাঁদে করুণা হইবে সংসার বাসনা মোরা কবে তুচ্ছ হবে বিষয়া ছাড়িয়া কবে শুধু হবে মন কবে হামাহিরা বসি বৃন্দাবন বিষয়া ছাড়িয়া কবে শুধু হবে মন কবে আমাহিরাব শ্রী বৃন্দাবন সুখ রঘুনাথ পদে হইবে আকুতি কবে হামা পূজাবো সে প্রীতি রূপ রঘুনাথ পদে হইবে আকুতি কবে আমা বুঝাবো সে যুগল প্রীতি রূপ Raghunatha Pade Rahu Mora Asha Pratana Koro Sada Narotamudasa Rupa Raghunatha Pade Rahu Mora Asha Pratana Koro Sada Narotamudasa Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radha. Jaya Jagannath Baladeva Subhadramai Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajakacharya Stotra Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Shri A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajakacharya Stotra Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai, Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai, Sama Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. "28. So request everyone to repeat after me. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So today we will discuss verse number 28 from the 6th chapter of the Adi Leela of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is a very beautiful verse describing the purpose of Advaita Acharya. And by describing this purpose, by his purpose of coming, Kaviraj Goswami will reveal many hidden secrets about the science of bhakti. So we will recite this verse. Jivanishtarile Krishna Bhakti Koridana Gita Bhagavate Koilo Bhakti Ravyakhan Jivanishtarila Krishna Bhakti Koridana Gita Bhagavate Koilo Bhakti Ravyakhan Jivanishtarila Krishna Bhakti Koridana Gita Bhagavate Koilo Bhakti Ravyakhan Jivanishtarila Krishna Bhakti Koridana Gita Bhagavate Koilo Bhakti Ravyakhan Jivanishtarila Krishna Bhakti Koridana Bhagavate Koilo Bhakti Ravyakhan Jivanishtarila Krishna Bhakti Koridana Gita Bhagavate Koilo Bhakti Ravyakhan Mataji. Jivanishtarila Krishna Bhakti Koridana Bhagavate Koilo Bhakti Ravyakhan. So word to word translation, Jiva, the living entities. Nishtarila, delivered. Krishna Bhakti, devotional service to Lord Krishna. Kori, making. Dan, gift. Gita Bhagavate, in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Koilo, performed. Bhaktira Vyakhan, explanation of devotional service. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He delivered all living beings by offering the gift of Krishna Bhakti. He explained the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in the light of devotional service. So who's he? This is Advaita Acharya. So purport. Although Sri Advaita Prabhu is an incarnation of Vishnu, for the welfare of souls, he manifested himself as a servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And throughout all his activities, he showed himself to be an eternal servitor. Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda also manifested the same principle, although they also belong to the category of Vishnu. If Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and Advaita Prabhu had exhibited their all-powerful Vishnu potencies within this material world, people would have become greater impersonalists, monists, and self-worshippers than they had already become under the spell of this age. Therefore, the personality of Godhead and his different incarnations and forms played the parts of devotees to instruct the conditioned souls how to approach the transcendental stage of devotional service. Advaita Acharya specially intended to teach the conditioned souls about devotional service. Now listen very carefully what the word Acharya means. Acharya means teacher. And what is the special function of such a teacher? Is to make people Krishna conscious. A bona fide teacher following in the footsteps of Advaita Acharya has no other business than to spread the principles of Krishna consciousness all over the world. And now, very important statement. The real qualification of an Acharya is that he presents himself as a servant of the Supreme. Such a bona fide Acharya can never support the demoniac activities of atheistic men who present themselves as God. It is the main business of an Acharya to defy such impostors posing as God before the innocent public. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. So it is my great fortune to be with all of you in the presence of their divine lordships Shri Shri Radha Damodar, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Shri Gaur Nitai, and His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. And I'm very sorry today. Today I'm going to deliver the class in English because I could not prepare in Hindi. मैंने प्रभु जी को बोला कि प्रभु जी हो नहीं पाएगा इस बार हिंदी में, आप किसी और को सेवा दे दीजिए. लेकिन प्रभु जी ने बोला नहीं नहीं आप आओ, आप इंग्लिश में दे दो. So please tolerate. Everyone is okay? Oh. So this verse is describing one of the key purpose of Advaita Acharya, what he has come for. So he's come to deliver all the living beings by offering the gift of Krishna Bhakti. And how does he do that? He does that according to the principles mentioned in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So before we go through all the points that Prabhupada has made in the purport, let us try to understand what the position of Advaita Acharya is. Who is he? So it is explained in verses 4 and verse number 5 of this chapter that what is the position of Advaita Acharya. So it is explained that Advaita Acharya is a direct incarnation of Mahavishnu, whose main function is to create the cosmic world through the actions of Maya. Mahavishnu Jagat Karta Mayaya ya Srijati Adha Tasya Avatar Evayam Advaita Acharya Ishvara. This text number 4. That Advaita Acharya is directly who? Mahavishnu. And we all learn from the Bhagavatam that how Mahavishnu creates all these unlimited universes and how seamlessly, how effortlessly he does it. He's actually just lying. He's actually lying down. And just by his breathing, unlimited universes are coming out. Can you imagine? You know what the potency of a person is. If you have to create something really small in this world, how much effort we have to make. Yes or no? But when you breathe, are you making any effort? Unless you're really sick, you have asthma or something. But when you're normal, when you're breathing, you don't even realize you're breathing. It's just happening automatically. So just imagine all these unlimited universes that are coming out. Mahavishnu, so powerful. Just by his breathing, effortlessly, so many countless universes are being generated. And then Mahavishnu, he expands and enters into every universe as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then as Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So we can't imagine what the potency of Mahavishnu is. And the same Mahavishnu, he appears as Advaita Acharya. And it's explained that Advaitam Hari Advaitat Acharyam Bhakti Samshanat Bhakta Avataram Isham Tam Advaita Acharya Ashray. So Kaviraj Goswami explains that because he is not different from Hari, the Supreme Lord, he is Advaita. So he's not different from Hari. He is Krishna. Mahavishnu is Krishna in office. When Krishna goes to office, he's Mahavishnu. And Krishna is enjoying. He is a coward boy in his Swayam Roop. But when he has to get involved in all this creation, and he expands himself in the form of Mahavishnu. And because he propagates the cult of devotion, he is called Acharya. So Advaita Acharya. And he is the Lord and incarnation of Mahavishnu. Okay. So despite having all this power, and one very interesting thing is that it is because of Advaita Acharya that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended to this world. It's explained that by his worshipping of Tulsi and by loudly crying out to Krishna, because he saw that the world was in great need for the Lord to come and save all these atheists and materialists. With Kali Yuga now starting, 5,000 years had already passed. He saw that just only 5,000 years, people had become so degraded. And he realized that only God can come and save this situation in Kali Yuga. And he prayed by loudly calling out to Krishna and by worshipping the Tulsi. And this is the main reason out of the three external reasons why Krishna appears in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's explained in the 3rd chapter of the Chaitanya Charitamrita that this is the main reason for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. And it's explained that it is through him, जानर द्वारा कोइल प्रभु कीर्तन प्रचार जानर द्वारा कोइल प्रभु जगत निष्ठार. It is through him that Lord Chaitanya spread the Sankirtan movement, and through him that he delivered the world. So his position is very unique, and it is inconceivable practically what his position is. But yet, what is the mentality of Advaita Acharya? How does he think? How does he want us to think? And why does he want us to think like that? So Advaita Acharya, he was the contemporary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's spiritual master. So both of them were disciples of Ishwari Puri and Advaita Acharya. They were disciples of Madhavendra Puri. So Advaita Acharya technically is the god brother of Mahaprabhu's spiritual master. And because he was the god brother of his spiritual master, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he really worshipped Advaita Acharya. But Advaita Acharya, his mentality was that even though Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered him as good as a spiritual master, he considered Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as his master. Apana ke korena tanra das abhiman. So how did he think himself? Apana ke korena tanra das abhiman. He considered himself the servant of Lord Chaitanya. And why? Se abhiman sukhe apana pasare Krishna das hao jiva upadesha kare. So he forgets himself that he is, Mahavishnu. Why? In the joy of that conception, that he is the servant. So he forgets his great position, his great abilities. He forgets everything. Why? Because he's immersed in the joy of the conception of being the servant. And not only he feels like that, but he teaches others. Krishna Dasa Ho. He teaches everyone that please become, he's telling us that please become the servant of the Lord. Krishna Dase Abhimane Je Anand Sindhu Koti Brahma Sukhe Nai Tara Ek Bindhu. So the amount of happiness that is there when we consider ourselves as the servant, Krishna Dasa Abhimane Je Anand Sindhu. The joy of being a servant of Krishna, or considering oneself a servant, it is like an unlimited ocean. And if we compare that to the happiness of Koti Brahma Sukha, that happiness is not even a drop. Nahi Tara Ek Bindu. So those people who want to become one with the Lord, they want to taste the joy of being Brahman. So the joy they feel is not even a drop compared to the joy that we can experience as a servant of Krishna. And Kaviraj Goswami, he offers many examples. So it's beautifully, his presentation it's like so sweet, and ecstatic. He says, let's start with Lakshmi Devi. She's lying on, the chest of Lord Narayan. But what is she aspiring for? She is aspiring for the joy to be the servant and massage the feet of the Lord. Then you take Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Shuka, Sanatan. Says they're all pleased. Dasya bhave anandita parishadagan. Vidhi bhava Narada ara Shuka Sanatan. So they're also ecstatic. All these great personalities, considering themselves the servant of the Lord. And what to talk? He says, look at Lord Nityananda. He's Advuta, Shabate Agal. But how does he behave? He says, Chaitanya re dasa preme hoilo pagal. He's mad. Considering himself as the servant of Lord Chaitanya. And in that love of being the servant of Lord Chaitanya, he is hoilo pagal. He's mad. And so is Shiva, so is Haridas, so is Ramdas, so is Gadadhar, Murari, Mukunda, Chandrasekhar. They're all Aishava Pandita Loka Parama Mahatva. Parama Mahatva means that they're so great, they're such great personalities. And what is their real greatness? Chaitanya Dase Shabai Koroe Unmat. They're also mad. They're mad in ecstasy. They dance and they sing like madmen. Ei mata gai nache kore athahasa. They dance, sing and laugh like madmen. And what do they instruct us by this? What do they tell us in this ecstasy? Take a guess. Chant the name of Krishna. Okay, what else do they tell us? Okay, dance like a madman. But the main thing they say is, how Chaitanya Das. Loke upadeshi hoy Chaitanya Das. Just like Advaita Acharya, he's saying, become the servant of Mahaprabhu. They're also saying, hey, raising their hands in ecstasy and dancing and laughing. They're saying, come on. Become servants. They're telling us, become servants of the Lord. So this is the nature of the love of God. Why in this such madness? Because this is the nature of the love of God. It said that Krishna premera ei eka apurva prabhava Guru samha laguke koraya das bhava. So love for Krishna has one unique effect. And what is that unique effect? That whether you are superior in Krishna Leela, that means you are like the parent, you're like the guru, you may be the teacher, you may be an elderly relative, or either you may be equal, like the friends of Krishna, or you may be the servant, like Daruka. But what prema does is that it doesn't matter whether one is equal, whether one is superior or in an inferior position. It imbues one with Koraya Dasa Bhav. It fills one with this emotion of servitude. And it's quite natural. And why? Because when we love someone, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? We want to serve them. We go to every extent to serve them. And we are willing to go through any pain, any inconvenience to serve those who we love. And even do things that we may not like. Especially when you have children. Sometimes at night, they really kick you hard. Sometimes you get kicked. I remember so many times I got kicked on the face by Gopi and Nimai. You're sleeping and suddenly down. But you still tolerate. You don't get up and say, hey, why did you do this? You tolerate because you care for them. So when the children, I remember they would sit, and they would sit on the commode, and after, evacuating, they would say, what are you ho gaya? So then, one of us will have to go and wipe, clean them. So we do all kinds of things. We are serving. And this is what Prabhupada says in his purports, that it is our natural inclination to serve. And we can't avoid that. Prabhupada says, if you don't serve God, then who will you serve? You will serve dog. You'll get a pet. And we see, I see in my neighborhood, very, very wealthy people, very influential, big cars, big house. But they're walking with their dog and they have this stool picker. So as the dog is passing stool, they're cleaning. So we may artificially assert that I am the master. I am the enjoyer. But our natural inclination is to serve. And unfortunately, when we come to this world, this controlling and enjoying mentality becomes so powerful due to the influence of Maya. Just to hear, that, become a servant, it seems very negative. What? Here, we are trying to be, someone big in this material world, something influential, working so hard to gain position and power and influence and followers. And here, this ISKCON is telling us, try to become the servant. But why the Bhagavad Gita, why the Bhagavatam, why the Chaitanya Charitamrita is teaching us to become the servant of the Lord? Because that is our natural position. And even the greatest of all great personalities, they consider themselves as a servant of the Lord. And through this sense of servitude, they experience the highest level of happiness. Which is not available through any means in this world. Prabhupada says that the real constitutional position of the living entity is that of subordination to the Supreme Lord, who's pure knowledge. But when we forget this, then we dwell in the dualities of dishonor and honor, misery and happiness, woman and man, good and bad, pleasure and pain, thinking, this is my wife, this is my house, I'm the master of this house, I'm the husband of this wife. These are the dualities of delusion. Those who are so deluded by dualities are completely foolish and therefore cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, they come to bring us out of this misery that we are all stuck in due to the influence of the external energy. Being so powerful, we can learn from Advaita Acharya that how wonderful, how pure, how amazing his mentality is. And there's a beautiful verse that we will sing together. Prabhuji, can you just pull this verse? Text number 86 of this chapter. So in this verse, Advaita Acharya, towards the end of the chapter, he is declaring himself. He's declaring his true position. And he's declaring our position. 86. So you can all repeat after me. Let him pull the, but it's very simple. It says, Chaitanya Das Muni, Chaitanya Das. Chaitanya Das Muni, Chaitanya Das. Chaitanya Das Muni, Tan Das. Chaitanya Das Muni, Tanra Dasira Das. Chaitanya Das Muni, Chaitanya Das. Chaitanya Das Muni, Tanra Dasira Das. So Advaita Acharya is declaring, he says, I am the servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am the servant of Lord Chaitanya. And I am the servant of Lord Chaitanya and the servant of his servants. So this is the glorious position of being the servant of Krishna. Because it is only through this emotion that actually we can taste the sweetness of Krishna. That's why all the rasas, they're imbued with the rasa of servitude. And the most amazing thing to conclude this discussion, that even Krishna, to experience his own sweetness, to experience the joy of his own sweet character, he has to take a position as his own servant, to experience the ultimate bliss available in this world. So even God, to enjoy the highest pleasure, He has to assume the position of a servant. Just look at this theology. So what does he do? What does he do? No, so how does he take the form of a servant? Radharani? Okay. He comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a servant of the Lord. Why? To experience this happiness of being the servant. So even the Lord, he's thinking, my God, those people who actually love and serve me, they're enjoying so much happiness. I want to experience this happiness. And people want to become God. And God wants to become the servant. So this is the beauty of bhakti. This is the power of bhakti. That's why Krishna says that in front of pure devotion, I'm helpless. I don't have the power to reciprocate. The Supreme Lord is saying, that love for Him is greater than anything. And that's only possible when it's imbued with this emotion of servitude. So let us hear about how these great personalities, they conducted themselves as the servants of the Lord. And they taught us how we can become genuine servants of the Lord. And in that process, only we can experience what the soul is hankering for. Unlimited, uninterrupted love of God. Because ultimately only that, ye atma suprasiddhiti, only this can satisfy the self. So just to recap, Advaita Acharya, even though he was Mahavishnu, he identified himself as a servant of Lord Chaitanya. And why? Because in this emotion of servitude, right, he experienced the highest pleasure that cannot be compared to even being unlimitedly being one with the Lord. And he gives different examples of great personalities who are so happy being the servant of Krishna. And this happiness is so amazing that even Krishna wants to become his own servant and experience this bliss. And by engaging in this process, we can get rid of all these external desires of being the Lord and Master in this world and try to become a genuine servant of the Lord. And this is the mission of the Krishna consciousness movement. Srila Prabhupada says in one lecture that I'll just finish with that. Prabhupada says, I hope I'll find that document. Yes. If you don't try to understand Krishna and simply improve your method of running better than the dog, that is not civilization. This is our presentation. Krishna consciousness movement means presenting a new life of civilization. And what is that life? How to become a servant of Krishna. Then everything will come automatically. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So if you have any questions or Any realizations you would like to share? Yes, Bruce. So what Prabhupada is saying is that if they started proclaiming themselves that, I am God, I am Mahavishnu, and all three, keeps, declaring that I am God, I am God, I am God, then what will that do? That will encourage more people to adopt that same attitude. And chalo, wo bhi Bhagwan hai, hum bhi Bhagwan hai. So which people even do today. Some people think, I want to become one with God. I want to become God. Narayan. So if they had done that, then more people would be encouraged. But how did they behave? They behaved as a servant of the Lord.
We have that mentality of being the master and physically being the government mindset. So it may change during the course of time, but at the present moment, how do we interpret that mood of God, that concept of act as a servant?
So one devotee who has been practicing Krishna consciousness for many years, she shared with me that the first thing she gets up in the morning, she recites this verse. Chaitanya Radas Muni, Chaitanya Radas, Chaitanya Radas Muni, Tan Radas Ranudas. So get up in the morning, get on the floor and recite this verse. Then after an hour, again get down on the ground. So repeatedly. So whenever we are offering pranams, whenever we are praying, what should we be praying for? Should be praying for this position. It's such a glorious position. I mean, it's so glorious that, God wants to flip His role. It is really like inconceivable. Because we think, the servant and all, come on. Because in this material world, we see the perverted reflection of that. And people exploit their servants. People misuse them, abuse them. But Krishna is not like that. See how glorious the position Krishna is willing to give himself. The supreme personality of Godhead. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He is willing to give himself completely to his genuine servant. This is the nature of God. And this is what makes God so attractive. This is why our theology is so amazing. What's great? God's greatest quality, that He's willing to give Himself completely. He's willing to be subdued, conquered by the love of His devotee. So we should repeatedly hear. We should remind ourselves. We should identify. So practically, what does it mean? It means every day we get up and we say, yes, today I will try to become a better servant. Our natural tendency is, we get up and think, chalo aaj, how will we enjoy today? How will be the controller and the master? कैसे सब मेरी बातें सुनेंगे? कैसे मैं सबको कंट्रोल करूंगा? कैसे मैं एंजॉय करूंगा? बट उस प्रयास में क्या होता है? नथिंग, जस्ट फ्रस्ट्रेशन. Because there are millions of other living entities trying the same thing. And then there are clashes within the family, there are clashes within the community, there are clashes within the state, within the country, internationally, globally, where so many problems, quarrel, nature of this Kali Yuga. Why? Because you're so wrapped in this mentality of being the enjoyer and being the controller. Aham Ishvara, Aham Bhogi. So that's why the first thing is identity. Dasa Abhiman. We should take pride in the fact, not like bad pride, but good pride. That this, yes, being the servant of Krishna is the most glorious position. And this is the thing to most aspire for. This is the goal of our life. Then, when we identify so strongly, then the chances are that we will organize our life in such a way that we can align ourselves with this mentality. So I remember one of the first letters I got from my Guru Maharaj. He wrote, this time I was in college. No, I just passed out of college. So he said, it is very good that you are now identifying more and more as a servant of God, as servant of Krishna. He said, this will do you very good in the future.
But it's more difficult to become the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. And mostly I think that I struggle in that.
So it may be difficult to become the servant of all the servants of the Lord. But there are many who, I would say, it's easier to become their servant than to become the servant of God. There's so many saintly personalities. Like, personally for me, I can relate more with, our acharyas and good devotees more than I can relate as a servant of Krishna. So I think, yes, I'd like to be the servant of the Goswamis. I like to be the servant of Srila Prabhupada. I like to be the servant of his genuine servants. Because they're so glorious in their, example, in their behavior. And we can see that. Krishna, we only hear. For me, it's much easier. And then, see, we have to see that whether it's a devotee or a non-devotee, there is Krishna in everyone's heart. Yes or no? Suppose you accept Krishna and you say, I can accept Krishna, and as my master. So your master is in everyone's heart. So if he's there in everyone's heart, including the non-devotee, so why can't you bow down? Because we haven't accepted even Krishna as our master. Because if we would accept Krishna as our master, we would have no problem bowing to any living entity. Yes, we will not be guided by them. But to be humble towards anyone, that is the natural feeling or the outcome of accepting Krishna as a super soul in everyone's heart. That's why even a person like Mrigari, he was a ruthless hunter. But when he got transformed by the mercy of Narad Muni, when he saw ants, he was reluctant to step on the ant. He was like wobbling here and there. And Narad Muni, he was coming with his, other sages. They ask him, why is he behaving so, abnormally? Chal bhi nahi raha hai seedha. So when they asked him, like, why are you behaving like that? He says, I'm trying to avoid killing the ants. So imagine the consciousness. So these examples, they are not there just as good stories. Okay, this is good for Mrigari, or this is good for him, or good for that. This is for us to take inspiration from. And this is to inspire us to follow in their footsteps. Otherwise, many people say, Arey, ye Goswamis, they were, personal associates of the God. Of God. All these acharyas, they're, someone's Manjari, someone's this. They are, eternal associates. They are pure, but we can't be like that. Yes, we cannot imitate them. But definitely we have to follow in their footsteps. If we just brush aside all these examples and say, you're बहुत elevated hai. You're talking about, Brahma, Shiva, Narad Muni, four Kumaras. You're talking about Haridas Thakur, Chandrasekhar. These are not ordinary beings. Yes, they're not ordinary beings. But they're teaching us that by their mercy and by the mercy of the Lord coming through them, they can empower us to be a genuine servant. They can lift us from this illusion. So we have to seek their mercy by trying to follow their footsteps. But not by imitating them, but by following the instructions. They're saying, chant sincerely, serve the devotees, right? Hear Bhagavatam, hear about these great souls. So when we do it sincerely, then we will also get inspired to act like the servant. Develop this servitude. When we hear, my God, look at this, look at the benefits of being a servant. The ultimate joy, the ultimate experience that we are all hankering, it's only possible through this emotion. Anything else? Mataji's? You have a question? So this is a very important point that you've mentioned, that unfortunately sometimes in the endeavor to become the servant of the servant of the servant, we may be exploited. And that's because sometimes maybe we also become blind. Krishna doesn't want us to become blind followers. And Prabhupada explains this many times, that we're not meant to become just blind servant of the servant of the servant. Okay. A genuine servant of the Lord, he will not consider himself the master of the devotee and nor will he exploit that devotee. He would want to serve that devotee. Like say, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. You're such an elevated personality, Guru. Right? But when anyone offered him pranam, he would say that I am your servant. So a genuine servant of the Lord will try to serve you. He will not try to exploit you, or he or she will never even think of exploiting you. How can? Because that would displease the Lord. Just because I may have a position in an organization like ISKCON, it doesn't give me the right to, to exploit anyone. No, so outside, that means that, so outside doesn't mean that, we just follow everyone blindly. No. Servant of the Lord. That means we are becoming the servants of the genuine devotees of the Lord. So if he's pretending, then you can see through. Then why would you, want to be a servant of a pretentious person? Avoid. We are not supposed to become just blind and sentimental followers. Right? We choose genuine servants who genuinely inspire us and who really care for us. We serve them because Krishna cares for us. So yes, we don't allow, in the name of humility and in the name of, being the servant of the servant, we don't allow people in the world to exploit us. No. Why? We should be careful. And the more we hear the philosophy, the more we will be clear in our actions. The scriptures, they open our eyes to help see reality, to deal with reality. But we have to hear. And then we have to practice. And then everything will come automatically. As Prabhupada says. This is the civilization that Prabhupada wants to create. So thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.